So, Pastor Appreciation Month is coming up, and it's going to be an interesting one this year. Uh, it it's been a rough couple of years as a pastor. I have to be honest. These last 2 years have been very harsh, and if I can, I like to share a little bit of my story and what our last couple of years have been like, and use it not. I don't want to draw attention to me, but I want to draw attention to other pastors and other ministers because many of them are going through the same kinds of things, similar struggles, similar problems, and they don't talk about it and don't feel like they can talk about it and don't have an openness. And I want you to be aware of what a lot of pastors go through. Um, as we go through COVID, there's going to be a lot of them that quit, that just up and quit and walk away from it. These last couple of years, if you don't know, I pastor in a small church in a small town. When we moved to this town uh, just over 10 years ago, it was a population of over 1,650 people. In the last 10 years, its population has dropped. It's now under 1,400, so we've lost 17-18% of the population. And like many churches, it has its ups and downs. A lot of people think pastors go into ministry and they make lots of money and get rich. Uh, they don't. Please don't take those few tiny exceptions out there as the norm. Um, 70% of pastors have to work an outside job or have their spouse work an outside job to make ends meet. It's called bivocational ministry, and yeah, we work. Um, we don't make money. Um, the equivalent education degrees for most other careers make 2 to 3 times what a lot of us make. I think I was reading somewhere the average salary for a pastor is like 25,000 a year, 30,000, assuming they get that. I get less. We get our parsonage, um, and that's about it, because the church can't afford it. When we came in 10 years ago, we had just over a dozen people. Over the course of that first year, we lost pretty much all of them, closed the church, remodeled it, and things had gone well. We had actually grown the church, and we're doing all right. Had some families step out into other ministries and saw the church, numbers go down. We had gone from about 40 to 50. We were down to about 20. Um, and I think we come down a little bit more. We lost a couple more families. We were like between 15 and 20 before COVID. COVID hit, closed the church, and it just stymied us. Um, we spent all those months closed, doing services online, doing what we could to try to keep people coming. When we reopened, we weren't able to do everything that we did. We lost all of our kids in this process. We lost our teens shortly before COVID hit, and that pretty much killed it. We weren't able to do a lot of the things that we were used to doing. Could no longer get into the schools for volunteer because it was closed. Couldn't let anybody in because of COVID and other things. It took what we had and froze it, and in our case, gave us, as a small town that is dying, a little option to grow. We had people that, if I required masks, got mad. We had people that, if I didn't require masks, got mad. Can't win. Um, and a lot of pastors are struggling with this. One of the things that I am very firm on is I will not use my church for political stuff. I don't believe in political statements from the pulpit. I've had people get upset at me for that. Why don't you take a stand for such and such person and candidate? Nope, I won't do it. That's not what the church is there for. We are here to preach Jesus, not politics. Lost a couple people over that. Um, and it has just been a struggle. It's been hard. We're at a time where you can't make everybody happy. And because you can't make everybody happy, it feels like you can't make anybody happy. Why don't you do this program? Why aren't you doing more of that? Uh, a lot of people don't realize that the pastor's job isn't to do everything, it's to lead you so you can do it. Um, we lost a couple of our good helpers because of this. My kids uh, have both moved out of Crane up into Springfield. It's a long drive, so hey, God bless you. Find some place that's closer. It's going to minister to you. Do I need them? Yes. Can I use them? Absolutely. But I can't keep them bound. There went my helpers, my workers. I've got a wonderful couple that's trying to help us, but 4 people can't do everything. And I had somebody a couple weeks ago, and I don't think they realize how much it hurt, but they were like, why don't you do this and why don't you do that? When are you going to start that again? I don't have anything left to give. I'm worn out, I'm exhausted, I'm burned out, and I don't have anybody else stepping up to help on these things, and I don't have anybody else who can step up to help on these things. And you just wear out and wear down. And you kind of go, well, where is the help? Where are those who are willing to step up and say, here, let me take care of this? Who's going to mow the lawn? Who's going to run the soundboard? Who's going to clean the church? Who's going to help play music? Who's going to pay bills? Yeah. A lot of churches, at the beginning of COVID, when we went online only, we actually saw giving come up a little bit of a dip, and then it came up. Had our online viewership numbers go way up. That was amazing. Now people are just worn out and tired of it. And so the numbers are down all across. Giving, viewership, attendance. Some churches have done very well, and it's been amazing. But more churches will close this year and next year because of COVID than normally close. And a lot of them close. More pastors are going to quit. A lot of pastors. I was reading a deal a while back, and 1 in 10 pastors quit before retirement. Never get to it. I think that number's going to go way up with COVID. I would not be surprised if it ends up being like 1 in 6 quit the ministry in the next 2-3 years because of all the stress, all the frustration, all the disagreement. It's a hard time to be a pastor. People don't realize that we carry everybody's burden. We carry our families. A lot of times our families get pushed to the side. They shouldn't, but they do. We carry everybody's burdens in the church and in the community. And it wears you down. We're struggling. I will be totally honest. I'm not at home. I'm on a week retreat trying to recover from the exhaustion, the mental exhaustion, the burnout, the frustration, and hoping to go on. Our church is struggling bad enough. I don't know what's going to happen with it in the next several months. My leadership is other pastors. They're struggling with the same thing, and they're overwhelmed, and trying to get together even has been difficult because they're so busy dealing with their things and struggling and overwhelmed. Your pastor needs you now more than ever. And I know you may be saying, well, what is what can I do? I'm too dumb. I'm too had had somebody say I can't do anything. I'm too stupid. You're not too stupid. You can start with just a kind word. Pastor, I appreciate what you do. When your pastor makes a decision, even if you don't necessarily agree with it, especially if it is something like masks and non-masks, and if they're making a decision that they think is best for the church and the community, support them. If you're not comfortable with attending the church at the time, most churches now have gone online. Watch online and make your presence known. We read those comments that people make. Let your pastor know you're there. Send them a card. Ask if there's something else you can do to help the church. The lawn mowing, the bookkeeping, counting offerings. What else can you do to help? I think you'll find that your pastors will have a long list of things that they need help with. I look at my church, honestly. We've run years without a bookkeeper because I can't get anybody to do it. I can't find anybody. I can't get anybody to send cards for me. Simple thing. Hey, pastor, give me a list of the birthdays in the church. I will mail birthday cards. Somebody to call the sick when they're not there. Somebody to help count the offerings, mowing the lawns, cleaning the church. These are all things that many pastors do because nobody else does. Little things like that will make your pastor feel loved and appreciated. Let them know that you care. Support them, encourage them, give them a treat. As goofy as it sounds, a candy bar. Just, hey, I was thinking about you. Wanted to give you a treat today to say thanks. It'll make their day. It might even make them cry. Because we're so used to hearing harsh words and disagreements right now that a kind word will go a long ways. And don't save the kind words just for your pastor. Save them for those other people around you. Flight attendants, restaurant workers, fast food workers, gas station clerks, grocery store attendants. Spread the kind words. Don't spread anger, disagreement. Even if you're frustrated with things, put a smile on and say something nice. And I think you'll find it goes a long way. Pastor appreciation. Let them know. I'm honestly, I'm looking at our church, and just because the way it's struggling right now, I'm probably going to tell them not to do one. I don't want a show of words. Please, I don't want to hear what a great person I am when it's all falling apart. I want to see something. And your pastor could probably use that too. Help them out. They need it. God bless.